So, before I start, actually, how many people here have an idea or have had a business idea at some point? A lot of people. How many people are actually acting on that idea? Nice. So this is going to be super helpful. Have your notebook out or nearest napkin. Just kidding. There's only one important slide. That's me. So what makes me qualified to speak to you about marketing? Well, during the day, I'm a full-time marketer. Part-time, I market for startups. That makes me the startup guy. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. That's what I do. That's not my car. That's inventory. I import cars from Japan. So, I mean, I get the struggles you guys go through. So that's why this is usually what I go through during my first meeting with my clients. Just basically, what does marketing entail? What is it about? And what does it have to do with you? Just some statistics. So 42% of startups fail after not creating enough demand. And if you don't have demand, you're not selling anything. If you're not selling anything, you can't pay yourself a salary. So effectively, you're going to need a day job the entire time. That's not our goal. That's not why you start a startup. You start a startup so you can vacation when you want, right? But what is marketing? Now, a lot of people ask me, what is marketing? Like, a lot of things you're saying sounds like sales. But my definition is leveraging an asset. You have a logo, it's not doing anything for you. You put that logo on a t-shirt, it's marketing. You have a business card, you keep it to yourself, it's not doing anything for you. Give that business card to someone, you're marketing yourself. A more real world example, we've all made resumes. You give a resume to an employer, you're marketing your experience. So what I like to start with, especially with a new business, is an identity. Because without an identity, you're not differentiating yourself from competitors, if you have competitors, or, I mean, even just who does your product serve? Finding your audience, that's part of your identity. How do we connect with these people? Because that's going to be important for marketing. And how do we remain consistent, which is branding. So this is basically a branding kit, which I like to start with. So an audience. Obviously, if you're targeting people, you want to sell something, you got to find out who your audience is. And by finding that audience, by narrowing it down who that audience is, it makes it so easy. They can come to me with something called an audience persona. You give it a name. You give them a job. You give them a salary. So like, I have a software that, I sell to, say, dog walkers, right? My audience persona is, say, Rachel. Rachel's a part-time student. She walks dogs. She has a small income. It all helps in targeting her, because obviously I'm not going to target her on, well, I'll target her on Instagram, because I probably know if she's 27, she's on Instagram. So these personas really do help, and I do recommend 3, 4, 5, as many as you can, wherever your target market is. The second point is the voice and the mission. So for consistency, your brand has to be consistent, because if one day, you're dropping slang, you're not going to seem like a professional company if you're out to become a professional company. But keeping that voice consistent means, hey, you're not lost in anything. Another part of that is the mission. So I like 5 points of a mission statement. You have a business, but what do you actually set out to do? I'm here to create something that makes dog walking easy, right? Well, my second point can be, I want to provide employment for part-time students who like dogs, like that. And then the next 3 points, that's kind of deep into the branding guide, where someone will come to me with a mood board of, hey, these are the brands I like and these are the colors I want to use. That'll lead into the logo. And once you have those things, you can start actually pushing out content, which I'll cover next, in a little bit, actually. So now, when that's done, you can actually start marketing. A lot of people are tempted to start putting ads out on social media platforms. Don't do it. Don't feed into it, because that's not always the most effective way. I've had so many clients come to me and say, look, I need you to help me run an Instagram campaign, and I have $20 to do it. Well, your target market's probably not going to see your ad if you have $20 and you're using Instagram. What you should be doing is finding your people. Okay, so physical location. So for example, I work with a drone company. A lot of people fly drones, and especially around here, flying drones, you can only do it in certain spaces. So if you go to their meetups, talk to them, bring your product, you have eyeballs on your product. You have people who are going to take pictures and share it potentially. Talk to your community, that's another thing. If you can find people who share the same passion as you. For example, I sell cars. If I'm not taking my car to car meets to sell it, because I don't do that full time, No one's going to see the car. And it's going to sit on Craigslist, and now Craigslist charges $5 and I'm $20 deep, and I mean, it's never going to be seen. Your people are also on the web. Facebook makes this incredibly easy. You just search for a Facebook group. The first point is find a forum, but now I think forums are dying because everyone's on Facebook with their own group. Or post on a subreddit. There's a subreddit for everything out there, just like Facebook groups. So if you can make a post that says, hey, try my product for free, you'll get people using it. Then you get product data. There's a lot of benefits to this, and it's all free. You don't have to spend anything. This also builds a network, which is super important. This is why I love coming out to these events, because you get referrals and opportunities. I know Brand Ready is here. I've got Christy Simmons sent me a referral, which was cool. You make connections and you find potential partners. You know what else is free? Making fresh content. This is my favorite part. So this is a long-winded definition of what content marketing is, but it's basically you're helping someone. That's all you're doing. You're just making a post to help someone. Say they have a problem. Say, back to my drone guy. 5 top places to fly your drone legally in the DMV. Someone's going to click on that. They're going to be on your site, and they're probably going to navigate around like, hey, he's got advice about this. What else does he have advice about? So the steps break down like this. You create the content that leads to people visiting your site. You draw in subscribers, have a landing page for, hey, sign up for the newsletter. Once you put enough credible content out, you become a resource. Like, why would I read any other news article if you guys are covering everything? And that drives sales, because why would I buy my drone from anyone else than the guy who's leading the industry? And now, that takes time. I get it. You have to write something. You have to find a topic. I get it. But you know what's low effort and free? Just being memorable. My number one tip for any startup, especially today, is being a customer service company first and then a product second. We use Amazon because it's free returns. If I don't like something, I can send it back, right? If we have a memorable experience, we're customers for life. I bought a graphics card back in the day, back when I was building PCs. They had a lifetime warranty. I bought it from them because when they went to replace my burnt out graphics card, they upgraded me to the one that was available because they weren't making mine anymore. I have not left that company. I still buy graphics cards from them. The second point is the process. Just make the process easy. I know a lot of companies, SaaS companies, and I work at a SaaS company, so I know the strain of this. They want you to book a demo. They don't give you any details on the website. They want you to book a demo. Now I have to get on the phone with someone on this web call, watch a demo, and then ask questions. If you can simplify that process to, okay, give me the key elements, and then push the demo after there's bigger questions I have, I'm more likely to book that demo because, hey, you guys have answered these questions, but I still have 2 remaining. The last part of the reviews. Now, the reviews are, so if you have the first 2 steps down, you have a good customer service, you have an easy process, chances are you can go back to that person and say, hey, I want to talk about the experience you had. They're probably going to, they'll be willing to jump on the phone with you. 90% of the time in my day job, I'm writing case studies. And these case studies, people are more than willing to talk to you about the experience they've had. And not only does it create a process, not only does it create a review, but it also creates someone you can go to for resources. There's something on the screen. But now I have a review, okay? I have this case study. I have this testimonial. What can I do with it? Well, if you put it on your website, people are going to read it and say, hey, if this guy agrees with you, if he can have a positive experience, with you, I can also. So, I mean, that's the number one recommendation I give when I was at the DC Tech Startup, the DC Startup Week mixer, and a lot of people were coming to me and showing me their website. Well, if you don't have testimonials on there, you're not really doing a good job at selling something. Yeah, no problem. Okay, let me just speed through. So my last slide is, obviously, I'm a marketer, and I love giving advice. Advice is free. If I don't have to, do some digging for you, I'm more than happy to, you can take a picture of this, more than happy to connect with you on LinkedIn, answer your questions specific to marketing, because it's what I love doing. It's the only reason I do it day and night. So thanks, guys. I'll take questions now. Oh, was that thorough? No questions? Yes.
All right, hold on. Coming over.
I want to throw you a lifeline because no one was asking any questions. You said no. Great presentation. How do you work part time? Describe maybe a little bit. There's probably a lot of small tech startups here.
Right.
What would the process look like engaging someone like yourself to, meet first and create a plan? And kind of how does that work usually?
Well, that's a good question. Well, basically, we start with a free consultation. So, obviously, end of the day, I do want to get paid eventually, but advice is always free. So that's setting up a timeline between product and marketing, because just because your product isn't ready doesn't mean you can't start marketing. So back to that drone guy. He's got 2 prototypes, but he's not ready for that stage. But he can start creating content now and building that community. Certain things you can't. Fashion, you can't really start putting content out. You can't put anything out unless you have that piece of fashion. But it all depends on the product. So that's usually the first step of strategizing when to start, when you should be pushing new campaigns, and when, if the product's ever updated, should you be advertising those updates. Now, yesterday I actually met someone who had an app it's like a Tinder for horses. Very weird, but I'm not in the horse space. I'm in the tech space. So it's this thing where you're basically buying, selling horses, or matching them for breeding. And her issue was she started marketing too early, and someone caught wind of that, and they copied the idea. So there's always a good place to start and a good place not to start. And that always comes out in the first consultation. And that second part is usually that brand building. Because during the day I'm a marketer and I run the creative department, so I do have some creative expertise where you can't really push content on a website that's not finished. And that's the biggest hurdle. That's always the largest step. It's like putting on all your clothes and forgetting your deodorant, because now you got to undress and get to put the deodorant on. And it's like that. You have this idea, you have this product ready, but you don't have anywhere to put it because you don't have any creative. So that's the biggest hurdle. So those would be where I would start. You're welcome. Anyone?
Anybody else? Out why my thing. Can someone run downstairs? I'm getting texts that someone's waiting for us downstairs. I just forgot about them. Okay.
At this stage, what are your thoughts on actually investing in Google key terms, and keywords, or having that organic SEO just takes time, at least a year for it to build?
Well, actually, that's a good question, because I was talking about this today. So there's 2 parts of that question. One of them is Google search terms, and the second one is the SEO portion. So SEO usually happens naturally. Unless you're in a super competitive space, there's no point of putting money into SEO. There's a lot of plugins you can use on WordPress that'll do it for you. It'll tell you if it's optimized or not. And so SEO, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's search engine optimization. So if I write a blog post, it's more likely to become a Google search result, because I'm writing about a topic that someone wants. That's the second part of content marketing. So I wouldn't put money into, unless it's a super competitive space. And if you are putting money into Google ad searches, there's 2 different types of searches. There's a long string search or a short string search. So for example, that drone guy, if someone types in drones for sale, it's a short string. It's a short phrase that someone's looking for, and it's going to be highly competitive. There's going to be a lot of people bidding against you for that keyword. But if someone says, drone company that makes drones cool, I can bid on that because my drone's cool. And there's no one else no one else bidding for that, because only 5 people are searching that. But for me, that's 5 definite customers, because my drones are cool. So, I would definitely go for the long search terms. And there's a website that'll do it for you. I can't remember the name, but they'll tell you, if you type in your web address or your industry space, it'll tell you what the top long string searches are. And chances are, 90% of the time, no one's bidding on that. So that's definitely, I wouldn't consider it this early in the stage, because that one-on-one is definitely, there's so much return on that, which is why I don't advertise. When I do consulting, I'm never advertising. I'm meeting people face to face, because once you establish that connection, they're going to come to you because, hey, I've met this guy and he's cool. Or, hey, I've met her and I like her idea. Because once you put a face to a product or face to a brand, it's game over. It's infinite return on investment. And I know IP lawyers that do this. I know there's a regular crew of guys that go out to these events, and they all say the same thing.